Hello, my name is Rain Boyd, and I'm the AMADOR High School Drama Club president. Welcome to AMADOR High School Drama's solo acting. Tonight's publicity sponsor is the Buy and Sell Press. Stagecraft sponsors are Jean Louis Stahl and Alpine Air Conditioning and Heating, and our show sponsor is Cooper Vineyards.
Hello, I'm Stagecraft Officer Morgan Pretty, and this year our Drama 1 student interns are Natalie Bordwell, Ellie Reeser, and Alyssa Vincent, and our Stagecraft crew is Alyssa Randall, Colin Jolly, and Morgan Pretty.
Hello, I am your Vice President, Nicolas.
And I am your Secretary and Treasurer, Paul Stratton.
And for the first time, beginning drama students are participating in the solo acting program. For the first time, students are performing in the theater in front of judges, a camera crew, and stagecraft students, without an audience. For the first time, all of you are at home enjoying this virtual experience. For the first time, many of the performers are in this theater and on this stage. Beginning drama students chose their scene from Romeo and Juliet, submitted their manuscript and audition, all virtually. The advanced students also chose their own scenes, and now are competing for the right to represent AMADOR in festivals this spring.
Advanced drama competitors are ranked equally on the believability of each scene and the contrast between the two scenes. There is a 7-minute time limit, which will not be announced. Costumes and props are not permitted, with the exception of one chair. Tonight's solo trophy winners, along with the top vocalists, will appear virtually with the one-act play in the Linnea Drama Festival at Folsom Lake College in February, and the Motherlode Drama Festival here in April. Thank you for your support of AMADOR High Performing Arts. This night would not be possible without our stagecraft coordinator, Morgan Pretty, our advisors, Giles Turner and Scott Coleman, and our technical coordinator for this evening, David Tierpak.
Hello, I'm Ian McMahan, the Drama Club's Public Relations Officer, and we will be holding the 47th Annual Jug and Rose Race this winter, except for it will be all virtual. There are more details to follow, but we will keep you up to date.
Hello, I'm Madison Stevens. I am your Sergeant at Arms, and our next staged event will be Poetry Out Loud on December 18th at 6 p.m. here at the AMADOR High Theater.
Thank you, and please enjoy the show.
My name is Paul Stratton. I'll be performing 2 scenes for you tonight. The first of which is from William Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, Act 3, Scene 2, portraying Caesar. And the second scene will be from Adam Sienkiewicz's Ubu Roy, portraying Ubu. Thank you. If you have tears, prepare to shed them now. You all do know this mantle. I remember the first time ever Caesar put it on. It was on a summer's evening, in his tent, the day he overcame the Nervi. Look, in this place ran Cassius's dagger through. See what a rent the envious Casca made. Through this, the well-beloved Brutus stabbed. And as he plucked his cursed steel away, mark how the blood of Caesar followed it, as if rushing out of doors, to be resolved if Brutus so unkindly knocked. This was the most unkindest cut of all, for when the noble Caesar saw him stab, ingratitude, more strong than traitor's arms, quite vanquished him. Then burst his mighty heart, and in his mantle muffling up his face, even at the base of Pompey's statue, which all the while ran blood, great Caesar fell. Oh, what a fall there was, my countrymen! Then I and you and all of us fell down whilst bloody treason flourished over us. good friends, sweet friends. Let me not stir you up to such a sudden flood of mutiny, for I have neither wit nor words, nor worth, action, nor utterance, nor power of speech to stir men's blood. I only speak straight on. I tell you that which you yourselves do know, show you sweet Caesar's wounds, poor dumb mouths, and bid them speak for me. But were I Brutus, and Brutus Antony, there were an Antony would ruffle up your spirits, and put a tongue in every wound of Caesar, that should move these stones of Rome to rise and mutiny. How I became king of the great expanding universe. Yes, I was not always king of the great expanding universe. My father was not king of the great expanding universe. In fact, back then, there was no king of the great expanding universe. The universe was just a series of unrelated, non-governed, socialist, communist, anarchist, hedonist, neo-realist, vaguely democratic, republican principalities, which is to say oligarchies. How then did I become king of the great expanding universe? Surely not by being elected. No, the secret is... I feel like I can tell you a secret. Can you keep a secret? Well, you better. The secret is I did it all through misinformation, intimidation, brute force, little murder, some bribery, some deceit, some theft, some breaking laws, some changing laws, some murder. Did I already say murder? And misinformation, teaching the people to blame themselves for their own misfortune. First, you buy a corporation. It can even be a small corporation, but it must be profitable. Then, you buy another corporation. You don't need to have all the money to do so. Be sure to, outsource the labor to children and those in poverty, so that your profits will be high. Then, you buy your first politician. Oh, I remember the day I bought my first politician. That was a good day. The pride I felt. Own more corporations and more politicians. Diversify. Don't just own the oil companies. Own the phones, the newspaper, perhaps the television, the housing, the grocery stores, the cable, the cars, the internet, the small countries. Continue ad infinitum. And don't be afraid of brute force. Get this. You can start a war to make money. And you don't even have to win. You can do anything as long as you own enough politicians. But what's important is that you must never back down. Crush them. Yes, you must crush them. Crush them. Crush them, crush them, crush them, crush them, crush them, crush them, and crush them!
Hello, I'm Madison Stevens, and tonight I will be performing for you two scenes, the first of which being from William Shakespeare's All's Well That Ends Well, Act 1, Scene 3, Helena, and the second one being from Kristen Palmer's Things You Can Do, Stevie. Then, I confess, here on my knee before high heaven and you, that before you and next unto high heaven I love your son. My friends were poor but honest, so is my love. Be not offended, for it hurts not him that he is loved of me. I follow him by no token of presumptuous suit, nor would I have him till I do deserve him. Yet never know what that desert should be. I know, I love in vain, strive against hope, yet in this captious and intenable sieve I still pour in the waters of my love and lack not to lose still. Thus, Indian-like, religious in mine error, I adore the sun that looks upon his worshipper but knows of him no more. My dearest madame, let not your hate encounter with my love for loving where you do. But if yourself, whose aged honor cites a virtuous youth, did ever in so true a flame of liking, wish chastely and love dearly that your sweet Diane be both herself and love, oh, then give pity to her whose fate is such she cannot choose, but lend and give where she is sure to lose, that seeks not to find where her search implies, but riddle-like lives sweetly where she dies. Here, the way the earth is going to change. The climates, microclimates, water scarcities and floods, new lakes, rivers, streams, running unfrozen, all into free flow. All will be in free flow, and maybe it will take so long for it to happen, but so long to us is nothing compared to geological time. Like nothing. So I don't understand why people find that so reassuring. I don't understand why anyone finds anything reassuring, except maybe they think they will be dead. But what about us? And what about our kids? And you know, when you are buried in the ground, when that ground goes underwater, that water will sink in and long unfingered loose your corpse and bloat you full of rotty water. You will contaminate everything you come into contact with, and you will still be contributing to the mess that your grandchildren are dying from. Better, after all, to burn.
Hello, my name is Rain Boyd, and I will be doing two scenes. The first will be from William Shakespeare's Julius Caesar, Act 1, Scene 2. I will be portraying Cassius, and the second will be from Sarah Rule's Eurydice, Act 2, Scene 17, and I will be portraying Orpheus. Thank you. I know that virtue to be in you, Brutus, as well as I do know your outward favor. Well, honor is the subject of my story. I cannot tell what you and other men think of this life, but for my single self, I had not lief lived to be in awe of such a thing as I myself. I was born as free as Caesar, so were you. We both have fed as well. We both can endure the winter's cold as well as he. For once upon a raw and gusty day, the troubled Tiber chafing with her shores, Caesar said to me, "Darest thou, Cassius, now leap in with me, and to this angry flood we might swim to yonder point." Upon the word, accoutred as I was, I plunged in and bade him follow, so indeed he did. The torrent roared, and we did buffet it with lusty sinews, tossing it aside and stemming it with hearts of controversy. But ere we could arrive at the point proposed, Caesar cries, "Help me, Cassius, or I sink." I, as Aeneas, our great ancestor, from the flames of Troy upon his shoulder the old Anchises bare, So from the waves of Tiber did I, the tired Caesar, and this man is to become a god? And Cassius is a wretched creature who must bend his body if Caesar so carelessly but gnawed on him. He had a fever while he was in Spain. And when the fit was on him, I did mark how he did shake. Yes, 'tis true, this god did shake. The color from his coward lips did fly, and those eyes whose bend doth awe the world did lose their luster. I did hear him groan. And that tongue of his that bade the Romans mark him in their speeches and write his speeches in their books. Alas, it cried, bring me some drink, Titinius. As a sick girl, ye gods, it doth amaze me that a man of such feeble temper should so get the start of the majestic new world and bear the palm alone. He doth bestride the world as a colossus, and we petty men must from under his huge legs peek about just to find ourselves dishonorable graves. Men are sometimes masters of their fates. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves that we are underlings. Brutus and Caesar. What should be in that Caesar? Why should his name be sounded more than yours? Write them, yours is as fair a name. Speak them, it doth become the mouth as well. Weigh them, it is as heavy. Conjure with them, Brutus will start a spirit just as soon as Caesar. So in the name of all the gods at once, what meat doth this our Caesar feed that he has grown so great? Eurydice, when I go down, I won't practice my music. Some say practice, but practice is a word invented by cowards. The animals have no word for it. A gazelle does not run because he needs practice. He runs because he is scared or he's hungry. A bird does not sing for practice. She sings because she's sad or she's happy. So I say, store it up. The music sounds better in my head than it does in the world anyway. And when songs are pressing against my lips, I will go down and I will sing to the devils and they will cry through their parched throats. Eurydice, don't kiss a dead man. I know their lips look red and tempting, but if you stick your tongue in their mouth, it tastes like oatmeal. And I know how much you hate oatmeal. I am going the way of death. Here's my plan tonight. When I go to bed, I will put a straw in my mouth. And when I fall asleep, I will let my breath push me like a great wind out into the darkness, and I will scream in your name, and I will arrive. I have consulted the almanacs and the footstools and the architects, and everyone agrees. Wait for me. Love, Orpheus.
Hello, my name is Nicolas, and I'll be performing 2 scenes for you tonight. The first is from Tony Kushner's Angels in America, Part 2, Perestroika, Act 5, Scene 5, and I'll be portraying the character of Prior. The second is from William Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing, Act 2, Scene 3, and I'll be portraying the character of Benedict. Thank you. bless me anyways. I want more life. I can't help myself. I do. I've lived through such terrible times, and there are people who live through much, much worse, but you see them living anyways, when they're more spirit than body, more sores than skin, when they're burned and in agony, when flies lay eggs in the corners of the eyes of their children. They live. Death usually has to take life away. I don't know if that's just the animal. I don't know if it's not braver to die. But I recognize the habit, the addiction to being alive. We live past hope. And if I can find hope anywhere, that's it. That's the best I can do. It's so much not enough. So inadequate. But bless me anyways. I want more life. I do much wonder that one man, seeing how much another man is a fool when he dedicates his behaviors to love, will, after he hath laughed at such shallow follies in others, become the argument of his own scorn by falling in love. And such a man is Claudio. Now, I have known when there was no music in him but the drum and the fife. And now, he hath rather hear the tabor and the pipe. I have known when he would have walked 10 miles afoot just to see a good armor. And now, he lies 10 nights awake, carving the fashion of a new doublet. He was wont to speak like an honest man and a soldier. And now, he's turned orthography. His words are a very fantastical banquet, just so many strange dishes. May I be so converted and see with these eyes? I cannot tell. I think not. I will not be sworn on it, but love may transform me to an oyster. But I'll take my oath on it. Till he hath made such an oyster of me, he shall never make me such a fool. Look, one woman is fair, yet I'm well. Another is wise, yet I am well. Another virtuous, yet I am well. But till all graces be in one woman shall not come in my grace. Rich she shall be, that's for certain. Wise, or I'll none. Virtuous, or I'll never cheapen her. Fair, or I'll look not on her. Mild, or come not near me. Of good discourse, an excellent musician, oh, and her hair shall be of whatever color it please God. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Ian McMahan, and I will be performing 2 scenes for you tonight. The first of which will be from William Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. Act 3, Scene 1, and I will be portraying Antony. The second of which will be from Peter Cook's Beyond the Fringe. Act 2, and I will be portraying the minor. Thank you.
Oh, pardon me, thou bleeding piece of earth, that I am meek and gentle with these butchers. Thou art the ruins of the noblest man that ever lived in the tide of times. Woe to the hand that shed this costly blood. Over thy wounds now do I prophesy, which like dumb mouths do ope their ruby lips to beg the voice and utterance of my tongue. A curse shall light upon the limbs of men. Domestic fury and civil strife shall cumber all the parts of Italy. Blood and destruction shall be so in use, and dreadful objects so familiar that mothers shall but smile when they behold their infants quartered with the hands of war. All pity choked with custom of fell deeds. And Caesar's spirit, ranging for revenge with Ate by his side, come hot from hell, shall in these confines, with a monarch's voice, cry havoc! And let slip the dogs of war. That this foul deed shall smell above the earth, with carrion men groaning for burial. Yes, I could have been a judge, but I never had the Latin. Never had the Latin for the judging. I just never had sufficient of it enough to get past the rigorous judging exams. They're noted for their rigor. People come staggering out saying, "My God, what a rigorous exam." And so I became a minor instead. A coal miner. They're not very rigorous, the mining exams. They only ask you one question. They say, "Who are you?" And I've got about 75% on that. It's interesting work, picking up lumps of coal all day. It's quite interesting. Because you see, the coal was made in a very unusual way. You see, God blew down all the trees. He didn't just say, "Let's have some coal," as he could have. He had the right contacts. No, he got this great wind going, you see, and he blew down all the trees. And then, over a period of 3 million years, he turned them to coal. Over a period of 3 million years, so that it wasn't noticeable to the average passerby. This was part of his scheme. But the people at that time did not see it that way. They didn't say, "Hurrah, coal in 3 million years." They said, oh dear, trees falling down on us. This is the last thing we want." And, well, their wish was granted. I'm very interested in the universe. I'm specializing in the universe and all that surrounds it. I'm studying Nesbitt's book, The Universe and All That Surrounds It, an introduction. He tackles the subject boldly, going from the beginning of time right through to the present, which, according to Nesbitt, is October 31st, 1940. He says that the Earth is spinning towards the sun and that we will all be burnt to death. But he ends the book on a note of hope. He says, "I hope this will not happen." But there's not very much interest in this down the mine. The trouble is with the people. I'm not saying there's a load of riffraff down the mine, not at all. I'm just saying there was a load of riffraff down my mine. Very boring conversationalists, extremely boring. If you were searching for a word to describe the conversations that go on down here, boring would spring to your lips. Oh God, very boring. If you want to hear things like, "I found a bit of coal." "Have you really?" "Oh yes, no doubt about it. This black substance is coal, all right, jolly good. The very thing we're looking for." It's not enough to keep the mind alive, is it? Whoops. Did you notice I suddenly went whoops? It's an impediment I've got from being down the mine. You see, one day I was walking along in the dark when I came across the body of a dead pit pony. Whoops. I went in surprise, and ever since then I've been going whoops. That's another reason I can't have been a judge. I might have been up there sentencing, all regal, I sentence you to... Whoops. And you see, the trouble with that is that under English law it would have to stand. And what is more, being a minor, when you get too old or sick or tired to do your job, well, you have to go. The very opposite applies with the judges. So, all in all, I would have rather have been a judge than a minor.
Two scenes today. The first from John Webster's Duchess of Malfi, Act 1, Scene 3 as Duchess, and the second from Michael Frayn's Noises Off, Act 1, Scene 1 as Mrs. Clackett. Now she pays it. The misery of us that are born great. We are forced to woo because none dare woo us. And as a tyrant, doubles with his words and fearfully equivocates. So we are forced to express our violent passions in riddles and in dreams, and leave the path of simple virtue, which was never made to seem the thing that it is not. Go. Go brag you have left me heartless, for mine is in your bosom. I hope 'twill multiply love there. You do tremble. Make not your heart so dead a piece of flesh to fear more than to love me, sir. Be confident. What distracts you? This is flesh and blood. 'Tis not the figure cut in alabaster that kneels at my husband's tomb. Awake! Awake, man! I do here put off all vain ceremony, and only do appear to you a young widow that claims you for her husband. And, like a widow, I use but half a blush in it. No good you going on. I can't answer the phone and open sardines. Hello? Yes, but there's no one you love. No, Mr. Brent's not here. He lives here, yes, but he don't live here now because he lives in Spain. Yes, the one who writes the plays. Only now he writes them in Spain. No, she's in Spain too. They're all in Spain, no one's here. Am I in Spain? No, I'm not in Spain, Dear, I look after the house for them. Only I've got a nice plate of sardines to put my feet up with, and I would very much. If it's to do with letting the house, then I'll have to ring the house agents. Squire, Rachael, who's the other one? No, they're not in Spain. They're next to the phone in the study. Squire, Rachael, Hold on, I'll go see. Always the same, isn't it? As soon as you take the weight off your feet, down it all comes on your head.
Rachael Wilson. I'll be doing two scenes. My first is from William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, Act 4, Scene 3, Juliet's Potion monologue. My second will be the Hilda monologue from Hoka Poka by D.M. Larson, titled Good Deeds and Such. Thank you. Farewell. God knows when we shall meet again. I have a faint cold fear thrills through my veins that almost freezes up the heat of life. I'll call them back to comfort me. Nurse! What shall she do here? My dismal scene, I needs must act alone. Come, Via. What if this mixture do not work at all? Shall I then be married tomorrow morning? No, they shall forbid it. Lie thou there. What if it be a poison which the friar suddenly hath ministered to have me dead, lest in this marriage he shall be dishonored because he married me before to Romeo? I fear it is. Yet methinks it should not, for he hath still been tried, a holy man. How if, when I am laid into the tomb, I wake before the time that Romeo come to redeem me? There's a fearful point. Shall I not then be stifled in the vault, to whose foul mouth no wholesome air breathes in, and there strangled ere my Romeo comes? Or if I live, it is not very like the horrible conceit of death and night together with the terror of the place, as in a vault, an ancient receptacle, where for the many hundred years the bones of all my buried ancestors are packed, where bloody Tybalt, yet but green in earth, lies pestering in a shroud, where at some hours in the north spirits resort. Alack, alack, it is not like I, so early waking, but with loathsome smells and shrieks like mandrakes torn out of the earth, that living mortals hearing them run mad. Oh, Romeo, 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 here's drink. I drink to thee. All right, witches, we've got ourselves a publicity problem here. Witches have got a seriously bad reputation here in fairy tale land, and it's only getting worse since the Hansel and Gretel incident. I mean, come on, people, eating children? Now that's just low. The fairies are thinking of getting rid of all magic. They can and they will, unless we turn things around and prove we can handle having it. They gave it to fairy tale land in the first place, and now they want it back because they think we can't handle having it. We've got a crisis here. I mean, what's a witch without her magic? We're nothing, I tell you. Nothing! We'll just be a bunch of creepy old hags with bad hair and skin. We have to do a major publicity thing here. Good deeds and such. No? Then say poof to all your magic and learn how to use chopsticks, because that's all our wands will be good for. We have to do a good deed. Not just any good deed, but a whopper of one. We're going to save the prince, aka Sleepin' Handsome. But think of the publicity, people. Witches saving the prince who's been put under a sleeping spell. Oh, and we must do it before some bubble-headed princess manages to beat us to it first. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I'm Marsha Wilson. I'll be doing a scene from Shakespeare's Two Gentlemen of Verona, Act 2, Scene 3, Launce, and then a scene from Tennessee Williams' Glass Menagerie, and I'll be playing Tom Wingfield. Nay, 'twill be this hour ere I have done the weeping. All the kinds of launces have this very fault. I have grabbed my proportion, like the prodigious sun, and am going with Sir Proteus to the Imperial's court. I think Crab, my dog, be the sourest natured dog that lives. My mother howling, my father wailing, my sister weeping, our maid crying, and all the house in a great perplexity, yet not once did this cruel-hearted cur shed a tear. He is a stone, a very pebble stone, and has no more pity in him than a dog. A Jew would have wept to see our weeping. Why, my grandam, having no eyes, look you, wept herself blind at our parting. Nay, I'll show you the manner of it. This shoe is my father. No, this shoe is my father, and this is my mother. No, that cannot be so neither. Yes, it is so, it is so. It has the worther soul. This shoe is my mother, with the hole in it, and this my father, of Vincent. Now, look you, this staff is my sister, for she is white as a lily, and just as small as a wand. This hat is Nan, our maid. Now come I to my father. Father, your blessing. Now the shoe speaks not a word for weeping. Now I kiss my father, well, he weeps on. Now come I to my mother, oh, how she could speak like a wood woman. I kiss her, aye, 'tis my mother's breath up and down. Now come I to my sister, mark the moan she makes. Now all this while the dog sheds not a tear nor speaks a word, but see how I lay the dust with my tears. I didn't just go to the moon. I went much further, for time is the longest distance between two places. Not long after that, I left for St. Louis. I descended the steps of our fire escape, following in our father's footsteps and trying to find in space what was lost in motion. I traveled around a great deal. The city swept me like broken leaves, leaves that were brightly colored but torn away from their branches. I would have stopped, but I was pursued by something that always took me unawares altogether by surprise. Perhaps it was a familiar piece of music. Perhaps it was only a piece of transparent glass. Perhaps I'm wandering the streets in a strange city before I found companions. And I passed by the lighted window of a shop where perfume is sold. Windows filled with tiny pieces of transparent glass, small bottles and delicate colors like a shattered rainbow. And then, all at once, my sister touches my shoulder and I turn around and look her in the eyes. Laura, I tried so hard to leave you behind me, but I am more loyal than I intended to be. I walk down the street to the cinema or to a bar. I talk to the nearest stranger. I buy a drink. Anything that will blow your candles out. For nowadays, the world is lit by lightning. Blow out your candles, Laura, and so goodbye. Thank you.
I'm Natalie Bordwell. I'll be performing two scenes for you today, the first being Act 2, Scene 1 of William Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, and I'll be portraying Titania. The second one being Latte Factor from Hello, Goodbye, Peace by Gabriel Davis, and I'll be portraying Alina. These are the forgeries of jealousy. And never, since the middle summer, spring met we on hill. In dale forest or mead, by paved fountain or by rushy brook, or in the beached margin of the sea to dance our ringlets to the whistling wind. But with thy brawls thou hast disturbed our sport. Therefore the winds piping to us in vain have sucked up from the sea contagious fogs which falling on the land have every pelting river made so proud that they have overborne their continents. The ox hath therefore stretched his yoke in vain. The plowman lost his sweat, and the green corn hath rotted ere his youth attained a beard. The fold stands empty in the drowned field. The nine men's morse is filled up with mud, and the quaint mazes of the wanton green for lack of tread are undistinguishable. The human mortals want their winter here. No night is now with him or care blessed. Therefore the moon, the governess of floods, pale in her anger, washes all the air that rheumatic diseases do abound. And through this distemperature we see the seasons alter. Hoary-headed frost in the far-first lapse of the crimson rose, and on Olheim's thin and icy crown and odor's traplet of sweet summer buds is, as in mockery set. Spring, summer, childing autumn, angry winter changed their wonted liveries. And the mazed world by their increase now knows not which is which. This same progeny of evils comes from our debate, our dissension. We are their parents and original. Have you ever heard the term latte factor? Latte factor. It means being destitute at retirement age because you order too many lattes. But I think it's not an all-inclusive definition. You see, latte factor should also refer to the factor of humanity that's lost in the ordering of lattes. Do you know what I mean? Okay, like the way you just ordered your latte tells me you think very little of me, that you dehumanized me. Oh, you put some change in the tip jar? Well, never mind. You think you can just put change in the tip jar and it absolves you of any requirement to treat me like a human being? This is just an ingenuous transaction and I'm nothing more than an espresso making machine to you, right? You just put your cash in and your latte comes out. Am I not human? If you cut me, would I not bleed espresso? No, I would bleed real blood, duh. So the next time you're ordering your double cap whipped frappe, the least you can do is start by looking me in the eyes and saying, "Hi, how are you?" And I, another human being, would reply, "Good, how are you?" And you'd reply, "There, that wasn't so hard, right? Now you can tell me what you'll have." And today I will be presenting William Shakespeare's As You Like It, Act 3, Scene 5 as Phoebe, and Danielle Almas-Simi as Alina. Now, Silvius, I will not be thy executioner. I fly thee, for I will not injure thee. Thou tell'st me there is murder in mine eye. 'Tis very true and very probable that eyes, which are the softest and frailest things, who shut their coward gates on atomies, should be called tyrants, butchers, and murderers. Now I do frown on thee with all my heart, and if my eyes can wound, now let them kill thee. Now, counterfeit to swoon, why now fall down? And if thou canst not, oh, for shame, lie not, to say mine eyes are murderers. Now show the one mine eye have left in me. Scratch thee with a pin, and there still remains some scar of it. Lean upon a rush, the capable impressure thy palm for some moment keeps. But my eyes, which I have simply darted at thee, hurt thee not. Nor, I am sure, there is no force in eyes that can do hurt. I didn't get in. They've rejected me again. The drama school I've been wanting to go to since forever. I know I'm not perfect. I know I'm different to the other students that audition and get in. Their posture is always so perfect and mine is awful. And I can't seem to get rid of it. I've auditioned 3 times now. And once again, here's the rejection letter. I don't know what more I can do.